Hello, Facebook fans, YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Friday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the U.S. It's time for the weekend special. And today we have a special guest. It's Tim Jellison, W3YQ. And Tim is part of the Contest University team. And he's been doing many years of presenting on tower safety. Hello, Tim.
Howdy.
And, Tim has been recognized in the ham radio community as a ham's ham. And what does that mean? That means that not only does he have over 50 years experience, he is on the air, he's climbing towers, he's rated and trusted as a tower rescue. And that is not something that is easy to get.
No, that requires going to a commercial climber class school, and they teach you how to rescue an injured person off of a tower. So I've done that many times. Not actual rescue, but practice.
Right, the practice itself. And you did a lot of tower climbing when you lived in Alaska. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, most of it was ham radio. At the old KL7Y contest station, we kept those towers up and alive for contesting. And there was, I think, 6 towers. The highest one was 160 feet with a 40-meter beam on top. And Kevin, KL7KY, and I used to keep those going. So I've climbed in, my record for climbing is 25 below. No wind, but I went up a tower 25 below.
Wow. And you were safe.
Yeah, oh yeah, I was hooked up. I've climbed up towers full of ice, cold. You're always hooked up. I've climbed up in wind and had wasps attack me, and as long as you're hooked up, you're not going to fall.
Right, and so being hooked up and the procedures and the safety, that's what you talk about at Contest University.
Yes, tower climbing is safe if you know what you're doing and you prepare for unexpected, like being attacked by a hawk. I've had that happen. You're always attached to it. There's no way you can fall if you do it correctly, but you really kind of need to know how to do that, so if something bad happens, you will survive.
So, who should come and listen to W3YQ at Contest University? Well, how about the guys, girls that have towers, want a tower, or know somebody that has a tower? What are most of your installations that you've done for other amateur radio operators? What's the typical tower situation?
Typical is probably 50, 80 foot Roan 45. And the problem is I talked to an ER doctor one time. She says any fall over 6 feet could be fatal. So if you go up a step ladder, clean your gutters, that would scare me because I'm not hooked up. There's no way I could do fall prevention. You just don't want to be hitting the ground. So we used to free climb when we were kids, or hold on, tie a rope or whatever, but you just can't do that anymore. So once I get up about 10 feet off the ground, we're starting to use fall arrest equipment, and with a full body harness. And then if something were to happen, you're not going to fall. And so you can climb under adverse conditions with wind and snow and ice and rain. You just keep your wits about you. It's not fun, but sometimes you have to do that. And I tend to be stubborn, so I've done that, all kinds of things. You also have to be careful about heat. You can dehydrate, get heat stroke, and that can be just as dangerous as cold.
And you've been on some... you've been parts of maintaining and even building some of the best stations here in the United States. Comes to mind N2QV out in eastern New York, KDAZ up in near Cleveland, Ohio, of course, here at K3LR. Now, as time has progressed, let's talk about, you're not as young as you used to be. What sort of advice do you give to folks that are in their 60s, 70s about climbing towers?
Well, you have to know your body. I mean, obviously, you hear about people shoveling snow, and that's the only exertion they've had, and they have a heart attack. You have to know your body, and part of that, just like I say, with heat or cold, when you're up there, you can feel when something's happening within your body, and you have to get yourself down. You don't want to get in trouble up there. The problem we have in our hobby is that we were all used to be kids and we were all climbing. Now we're all getting older, and so you almost have to be realistic about it, and maybe hire a professional tower crew to come out. They're going to have insurance, they're going to be trained, they're going to have the right equipment, they have the rescue skills. It costs money, but if you go up there yourself, how much is that?
What's your life for?
Yeah, what's your life for?
Yeah. And a few minutes ago, you talked about the climbing apparatus that is used today. Talk about those components, because that stuff wasn't around 35, 40 years ago.
No, I don't even remember when a full body harness hit the market. We used to use a lap belt, if that. The thing with the full body harness is, and I know one guy that went upside down. You're in the full harness, you can't come out of the harness. The other thing with the full body harness is if something bad happens and you have to be rescued, you have to have a harness. That's the way we would get you down, or a fire department can get you down. And we've talked about this over the years. Unfortunately, we've all known people who lost their lives on ham radio towers. It's a problem. You want to be loud, you need a tower, and we've lost some guys. That's why we started doing the Contest University training. So really anybody that's going to do any climbing, it would be nice, at least, you're not going to be certified rescuer after the Contest University, but at least I can give you a lot of helpful hints.
And they can ask you questions.
Yes.
And with the amount of experience that you have, it's likely you can help guide the situation. Let's talk about now we talked about the apparatus, the fall arrest, the safety belt. How often should that be inspected? Is it okay to loan that to your buddy and you don't know what your buddy does with it?
I don't loan my harness because my life depends on that. In the industry, and I'm not sure what the current rules are, you used in the industry have to retire that equipment after 5 years. If a fall arrest is deployed, you can't be reusing it. I would never buy a used harness like at the Hamvention flea market. I mean, things are expensive. A harness depends on what you get. Some of them are up to $600. So you may have $800 in your safety equipment, but here again, what's your life worth? It's an investment.
Right.
You have to be safe.
And so let's talk about some of the other equipment that's necessary to put up tower, gin poles, pulleys, block and tackle, maybe some sort of a capstan winch, that kind of thing. You can get into some serious money here.
Oh, yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah. The problem is when you start adding all that up, it's a sizable investment, which a lot of guys aren't going to want to invest in. Therefore, you might want to hire out professionals to do that. They'll have all that equipment.
What about rope? There's all kinds of different rope. There's rope that you can get at the hardware store, and there's the right rope for this kind of work, and even steel cable.
A good rope to have for ham. We use double braid 1/2 inch because it doesn't twist and knot. You go to the hardware store, a lot of times you buy a nylon rope, which has a lot of stress, and you'll be fighting that. So you do want to invest in some good rope, a good pulley up on top. The other thing that's really key is that everybody at the site should be wearing a hard hat. And I keep telling people, it's like, you can go to Home Depot and buy a hard hat for $15. Wear the doggone thing.
Right.
Because if you get hit by a wrench or something and you go into a nursing home, that's just stupid.
Yeah. No, it's very preventable. And the guys that we have watched, and it's very sad, that have died due to accidents. And there was one here recently where the guy was doing a Parks on the Air activation, a POTA activation, and he put up his antenna into power lines. What about power lines?
Well, that's kind of the silent killer. We know a number of people lost their life that way. The power lines are 7,200 volts, and they're not insulated. And if anything, dipole or a vertical or anything hits into that, we've lost a lot of people that way. And then the parts on the air is another thing. So the first time you do anything on a tower site or putting up a parts on the air, where's the power lines? I mean,
Right.
it's just, you got to have that in your brain.
Right. First thing.
Yeah.
Check that. Let's see who we have here in the chat room, and let's see. Brian is on from Arizona. W3YQ's presentations at Contest University are great. That's W7JET.
I paid him for that.
And of course, Brian is also a pilot for Alaska Air.
Oh, well,
So?
bless your soul. I'm a gold member. Used to be.
There you go. And we also have on Kilo Hotel 2 X-Ray. And let's see. Currently waiting for FedEx to hopefully drop off my DX Engineering order. Well, it's always great when a box shows up from DX Engineering. And even though I work for DX Engineering, sometimes a box comes to K3LR. So that's really good. Let's see, KH2XX says, thanks for the QSL, Tim. Meant to reach out and thank you.
I think he meant you.
Yeah, well, one of us. Scotty Meyer on Kilo Golf 9 Zulu. Scotty's part of the DX Engineering sales team. Here's Colleen Campbell. These two are so supportive of youth in the hobby. So excited to attend another Contest University this year and share what I learn with my students. Of course, Colleen is Kilo Bravo 8 Victor Alpha Quebec, and she is a full-time high school teacher, and she is the real deal. And of course, she comes from a ham family. Her father's a ham, her husband's a ham, and she has 3 wonderful daughters, all licensed amateur radio operators. And KH2XX says, inspect everything every time before every use. And here's Kilo Echo 2 Delta Golf Japan. I've been licensed ham for 2 years, and I've been loving the hobby. I bought stuff from DX Engineering, and it's enabled me to enjoy the hobby more. Thank you.
See this, inspect everything. So much of the safety is common sense. It's common sense.
Right.
Inspect your gear, inspect your ropes. You know, just get a mindset of going through a checklist in your mind. Check a power line.
Don't trust.
No.
You know, you gotta verify and double check, triple check. We were on the towers here today doing work, and you know, had 3 wonderful, skilled, highly trained climbers.
Young.
And young. You know, youth, I mean, it's amazing to see these young guys. And the great thing is when you have somebody like W3YQ who's teaching at Contest University, but he's also the crew chief, well, that makes the job really go safely. So if you're thinking about coming to Hamvention, think about coming to Contest University, contestuniversity.com. You can take a look at last year and the years before. All the files are up there. So the presentations, you'll know exactly what is the flavor of what's going on. It's all new material this year. We have 5 new professors, and then we have some returning professors like W3YQ. Go to contestuniversity.com. Also, excellent articles are on onallbands.com. That's the DX Engineering blog. And if you go to YouTube and search W3YQ, Tim did a multi-part series on antenna and tower safety and installation that you don't want to miss. If you're doing anything that involves a tower with amateur radio, there's lots of great resources out there for you. And I hope you've enjoyed this video today. It's been a pleasure having Tim W3YQ with us. And until next time, 73 from DX Engineering.